Long before the modern world ever existed, there was only survival. Today, we go back to that era to see what life was like for our ancestors. Imagine standing alone in a world that does not care whether you live or die. A world of towering grasslands, shadowed forests, jagged mountains, and predators that could crush your skull with a single bite. This was Earth hundreds of thousands of years ago. And in this unforgiving wilderness walked a creature that did not look like a conqueror. No claws, no fangs, no thick fur, no venom. Just fragile skin, slow legs, and a mind that was only beginning to awaken. This is the story of how that fragile creature, our ancestor, became the most dangerous predator the planet has ever known. But the path to dominance was not paved with strength. It was paved with hunger. Subscribe to our channel to get all updates as we bring you episodes on ancient man, their hunts, and their survivals. Long before empires, small bands of early humans wandered ancient savannas. They were not yet masters of fire, not yet architects of cities. They were scavengers. While saber-toothed cats tore through flesh, while massive hyenas cracked bones with crushing jaws, humans waited. They watched from a distance. They listened. And when the predators finished their kill, when the danger had passed, that's when the humans moved in. Not to feast, but to survive. A sharp stone smashed against bone. Marrow spilled out. Rich, fatty, life-saving calories. They feed on it naively. It doesn't sound glorious, but this is survival. But this marrows weren't a waste. They were nutritious. This marrow fed something revolutionary. The brain. And that brain would change everything. Evolution does not reward comfort. It only rewards pressure. And pressure was coming. And then the brain started activating. At first, tools were found. A stick for digging, a stone for smashing. One day, someone struck two rocks together at just the right angle, and something extraordinary happened. A flake sheared off, sharp, razor sharp. This was not chance, this was understanding. Curiosity sets in, and the ancient man began to practice what it just realized. And here comes the birth of engineering. From that moment, the world was no longer just something humans endured. It was something they could shape. The hand axe emerged, a teardrop of stone that became the Paleolithic Swiss Army knife. With it, humans butchered faster, cut deeper, defended harder. But even with tools, they were still outmatched. A cave bear could tear a man apart. A saber-toothed cat could outrun him in seconds. So, how did humans survive? The answer wasn't speed, it was strategy. And strategy required something even more powerful than tools. It requires cooperation and persistence. Imagine the midday sun baking the African savanna. Most predators are resting, panting, cooling themselves. But humans sweat. Sweat is not glamorous, but it is a superpower. While other mammals must stop running to breathe effectively, humans can run and cool at the same time. So, they hunted in a way no other predator could. Persistence hunting. A kudu bolts across the plains. Fast, elegant, built for escape. The humans don't chase in a sprint. They walk, they track, they follow the hoof prints in dust. Hours pass. The animal runs again. The humans continue, relentless, again and again. Until finally, the animal collapses from heat exhaustion. Not because humans were faster, but because they refused to stop. This was the moment humans stopped being scavengers and started becoming predators. But hunting alone was suicide. The next breakthrough would transform them forever. Picture a herd of mammoths, towering, massive, each one weighing as much as a small truck. A single human is nothing against such giants. And then, man formed a coordinated group. They learned to read the land, to use ravines as traps, cliffs as weapons, mud as quicksand. At buffalo jumps, entire herds were driven over hidden edges, not by force, but by psychology. Shouting, fire, movement, chaos. One mistake from the herd, and gravity did the rest. Division of labor emerged. Some became trackers, some became drivers, some became spear specialists. That was cooperation. Next, communication evolved. Hand signals, sounds, shared intention. This wasn't random survival anymore. This was organized warfare against nature itself. But every hunt carried a price. And sometimes, the hunters didn't make it home. A single kick from a wild horse could shatter ribs. A bison's horn could puncture lungs. Infection was a death sentence. Broken bones meant starvation. There were no hospitals, no antibiotics, no second chances. Every hunt was a gamble. However, when a mammoth fell, it wasn't just meat, it was life. Weeks of food, hides for warmth, bones for tools, fat for fuel. The entire tribe gathered, not just to eat, but to celebrate survival. In these gatherings, something deeper began to form. Culture, stories, memory, knowledge passed from elder to child. And with every generation, the brain grew and grew and grew, until eventually, humans would hunt not just animals, but the entire planet. Ancient hunters became masters of observation. They knew migration cycles, breeding seasons, wind direction, scent drift. They could smell rain before it fell. They could predict animal movement from broken grass. They were scientists without laboratories, strategists without written language. Everything depended on awareness, and awareness became instinct. But as humans grew more efficient, the balance shifted. Megafauna began disappearing, woolly mammoths, giant ground sloths, massive predators. Was it climate? Was it hunting? Was it both? Whatever the cause. One thing was clear. Humans were no longer just surviving the ecosystem. They were reshaping it. And they didn't even realize it. From scavengers picking marrow out of abandoned bones, to coordinated hunters driving giants off cliffs, to engineers crafting distant weapons like the atlatl, humans had unlocked something no other species ever had. Collective intelligence, no claws, no fangs, no armor, just imagination. And imagination turned sticks into spears, spears into systems, systems into civilization. The ancient hunters of the savannah could never have imagined skyscrapers, satellites, or cities glowing at night. But everything began with them, with sweat, with stone, with fire, with courage. The next time you look at your hands, remember, they once held a rock, and with that rock, they changed the world. But this was only the beginning. Meat meant survival, but the hunt was a dangerous gamble that often ended in empty hands or broken bones. So, what did the tribe eat when the hunters came home with nothing? While the men were chasing shadows, the women and elders were mastering a secret science that actually provided 70% of our calories. But one wrong leaf could mean an agonizing death. Follow us, we enter the world of the gatherers in episode 2. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts on the comments. More episodes coming next.